You're listening to Movie Reviews and More with Brian Sebastian, only on LA Talk Radio.
Here we are, it's Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More. Here we are live around the world and from around the world. It's nice to have an international flavor of beautiful women at the table. And so we've got it's a special show this today. I'm flubbing because of the retrograde. It's really gotten to me, but I'll get over that. Anyhow, I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves. I'm honored to have everybody here. Zorriana, tell us who you are.
My name is Zorriana Kit, and I am the media director and head up Sea Shepherd Productions at Sea Shepherd Conservation Society. We are an anti-poaching organization, and our mission is to save life in the world's ocean. On the flip side, I'm also a member of the Broadcast Film Critics Association and see lots of movies and do some reviews.
And you got your shirt on, too.
I have my Sea Shepherd shirt on. I'm here to represent and hopefully tell you guys a little bit more about my awesome organization. It's been around for 40 years and made famous on the TV show Whale Wars on Animal Planet.
And Gwen. Gwen is back.
My name is Gwen Wunderlich. I'm an actress and I am a healer and daughter of this beautiful lady right next to me.
And who is that young lady next to you?
Your sister.
Thank you so much.
This is Annette Müller, all the way from Germany. Annette, I'm glad you're here.
Yes, thank you for inviting me. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank
Isn't
you
it
so
fun
much.
to be next to your daughter?
It is so much fun. Who would have thought that when she was in my womb?
Ruxanda.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ruxanda. I'm an artist. I am a singer, songwriter, and also I'm a ballroom dancer. And I'm part of the NDCA Association, the National Ballroom Dance Board organization, takes care of the ballroom dancers. I'm really glad to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me to this great show. So I hope we'll have a lot of fun.
Well, one of the reasons why everybody is here, because everybody's got certain talents, and I always like to have everybody see the talents that people have. Our phone number is 818-570-5085. That's 818-570-5085. Let's get into this. So, all the way from Germany, I like that fact. Let's talk about this book first of all. Why is this book special? I know why, because I read one of them. And it actually touched me, but I didn't know anything about it until I saw your daughter. And turning that on to me, I thought that was really, really special. So the chances of you being here at the same time, us talking on our first show back about your book, I thought that was great.
Oh, wonderful. I love the show, by the way. Yes.
Tell us about your book. How did that come about?
So this book is called Amazing Grace, Miraculous Healing Alchemy, and it's been written by another Annette and me, Annette Müller, and the other Annette she so to say took a training at our school for energy healing undercover as a journalist. And she wanted to see and reveal things that like energy healing can't really be true. And so afterwards she turned around completely, and she's been writing with me together this amazing book about healing, and we are healing on a different level. It's the body changes after we are healing the matrix, the blueprint, the architecture of the body. And so a lot of miracles happen, and she's talking about a lot of her doubts that happen. And so there's a dialogue between me and her going back and forth in this book. And we loved it. We loved writing the book, and people really love reading that because she talks about her experiences, and I do the teaching.
Well, this is you have another book also, but go back to why you read these. You started writing these books because something happened to you.
Yes. So I came into energy healing because I had an accident that was in 2004, and I had a mild accident, which seemed to be mild, but I had a severe whiplash injury where my atlas, the first vertebra, became out of place. It became dislocated. And from that, I got something that you would call migraines, but I got seizures and things like this. And so I went for over a year. I went in search of a cure to find help with regular doctors and alternative medicine, and nothing could really help me. And my mom, she saw some kind of TV show, and she said, "You see, I've seen something about energy healing. You should try that." So I said, "I really don't believe in this, but just get you off my back, let me try it." So I went, and I could feel, okay, immediately that something like really some dooming feeling was lifted from me, and then I got help, and then I went to see more energy healers, and I was so deeply touched by the help I found that I said, this is going to be my path. It was like really, really getting to me, and so I took trainings all over Europe, even in America and Hawaii, and I became an amazing healer, and I founded the first hospital for energy healing in Germany. I founded a school for energy healing in Germany. I'm teaching all over internationally. I have now a printing company. So I became a publisher, not publishing only my own books, but other people's books also. I founded the organization Healers Without Borders. Healers Without Borders. We're going to have our first healing camp in India in January 18, where we're going to be more than 30 healers that I've trained with amazing grace, and we're going to have about more than 500 people being healed for free in India in January 18. And I'm now also a co-producer of the documentary The Cure, that is produced by Sharon Stone
and
Emmanuel, directed by Emmanuel Itier. Yes.
Beautiful.
Zorriana, do you know Emmanuel? He does a lot of junkets with us.
I'm familiar. Yeah, I know him. I'm familiar with the film. I love the idea of healing, and of a healer, and I think a lot of times we want to look to someone on the outside to fix ourselves, and a healer sounds really magical, and it sounds like the answer to our prayers, but
it was the answer to my prayer.
But see, how do you know? We live in such a tangible, tactile society. So how do I trust that you're not a quack, for lack of a better word?
Well, you have to know. You can't see from the outside. You try it once. If it helps, you go on.
But does it help? Does it work immediately? Like, do you sense it immediately?
If the healer is a real healer and he knows something, believe me, you will sense it immediately. Absolutely. There's no way that you are not going to sense it if the person has a real skill. Yes, but you have to find it out.
You know, the fact that we all live in Los Angeles and then we have come from different states and different countries, I found out when I lived in Connecticut, I didn't know what I was going to get into. I didn't know what I believed. I grew up in an all-white town in Connecticut, and I was a Protestant and went to an all-white black church, and I just didn't feel anything. And then I started practicing Buddhism when I got here. Los Angeles is the only place where everybody comes and you get into something new, right? Yes. And it just happens. You don't know until you get in, because everything is segregated, everything is all spread out, and then you come into different nationalities. And then you women know when you're here, you've got to put on your war paint, you've got to look your best, and you've got to do all these things. So for me, I need all these things, which is why you guys are here. Talk about, I mean, for you, for your dancing, you know when you're doing this stuff, you've got a lot to do this stuff. To keep your presence on everything, to keep your core, which is kind of what she was talking about.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, your feet, injuring yourself. That's not easy.
It's a dangerous, I would say to a certain extent, it's a dangerous profession. But because I love it, I do so much sacrifice for it. And the sacrifice, it's really a routine. You have to take care of yourself from everything, starting with your diet, workout, your hours of sleep. I don't have them, unfortunately, the way I want to, but you have to get a certain amount of rest. You have to be at peace of mind most of the time, to be focused when you work out or practice with your partner. And then ballroom world is a little bit different from other styles, I would say, because hip-hop, contemporary ballet, it's more of a solo artist, I would say, world, depending on the show, of course. But ballroom, you would always have to be in a partnership. So that brings a lot of fine aspects to it, difficulties, because you have to always deal with another person. And I had, of course, a lot of partners. Everybody's different.
It's all about that energy flow, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's a lot about the chemistry on the dance floor. And I have a lot of feedback from my audience or fans or even friends. They say, oh my God, you guys are dating. You're romantically involved. I'm like,
No.
not necessarily. Sometimes, yes. I'm not going to say no. Yeah, that happens when there is attraction on another level. But most of the time we're not, because that really brings a lot of, I would say, extra drama to the business part. So when you invest so much time, practice, work, and money, of course, too, you have to invest into your coaching with the partner. We have to, take a lot of training with other experienced and achieved dancers. And when you do that, you realize that you cannot mess it up by doing something that is just emotional, and then everything is just, it's a waste. It's a waste of time and energy. So we try to keep it more professional, the majority. But of course, there are exceptions.
Exactly.
But it's fun, it's a lot of sacrifice. Like I said, it's a lot of compromising, and I always have to say no to different things in order to be able to do what I want to do. And with the singing is the same thing. But it's worth it because it's my life. I love it.
Zorriana, how do you keep in shape? Because you're in shape.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that has to go to bed at 9:30 because the alarm goes off at 5. And
Yeah.
I'm off to
I'm
go.
almost in that group too. So.
And I'm off to go hiking, and I hike with a group. It's the same group of people. We've been together for 8 years. We have our dogs with us because, let's face it,
I love that.
the dogs are the ones that get us out of the door. You need a buddy system, and if you don't have a dog that's like dragging you out there, you'll make every excuse to not get up in the morning. Even 8 years in, I still do it. We were talking earlier about diet and how to stay healthy important. And all that stuff. As a healer, are there certain foods that you would consider healing foods?
Well, in natural medicine, yes, definitely. The diet is very important. Also, lifestyle is very important, because what gets you sick in the first place is you look for the causes, and many, many times it's the bad lifestyle that gets you sick. So it's very good if you can change that. But what are you going to do when you're already in that, when your body is already sick and not in shape? Then, like when people come to us, the healing that we do, we help the person on the level of consciousness to change something, and then the person feels much better than before, and then hopefully the person is so intelligent not to do the same mistakes again and get better themselves.
But don't you find that sometimes food companies misrepresent themselves? So if you're striving to be healthy and you want to be healthy, you're inadvertently not being healthy?
Well, I think not only food companies do that, but I think our society is very much into like deceiving people. Yes, so
for commercial profit, basically. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this is what keeps society going. But I think it's up to us, to our personal intelligence, to do the right moves and not blame
Yeah.
the companies. To do
Well,
that.
I've been working at Sea Shepherd Conservation Society, and I have always been an animal advocate. But once you're immersed in that society every day, you start learning things that you just didn't know before. And I don't consider myself an unintelligent person. We were talking about pescatarianism, and so that means your source of protein is fish.
Yes.
So do you eat salmon?
I do, yes.
And do you think about whether you eat farmed salmon or wild salmon at all, or do you just eat salmon?
No, I always get the fresh one.
The wild or
The wild.
or farmed?
No, I don't want to. I don't do the farmed one. I made some studies on it, and it's not necessarily always sanitary.
Yes, and I'm glad you said that, because most people are taught to believe that if you eat farmed salmon, you're actually saving the wild salmon, that it's somehow better for the environment. And we currently have a campaign at Sea Shepherd called Operation Virus Hunter that's taking place up in British Columbia. And that is a campaign to protect the wild salmon. And I had no idea prior to this campaign just how much wild salmon is in danger by the commercial farmed salmon industry. They have these pens
That's
that
interesting.
that are in the ocean where they farm the salmon, and it's the equivalent of factory farming. There are so
Really?
many farmed salmon are crammed in these pens, and the feces and the waste that goes onto the ocean floor kills everything. Furthermore, it's a petri dish of disease. I mean, it's a breeding ground for sea lice, tumors, parasites. So those salmon it's the last thing you want to eat. They pump them with hormones, antibiotics to prevent them from being susceptible to the toilet that it is with
Right.
all of that stuff. But unfortunately, those farms, those salmon farms in BC, they export salmon all along the West Coast, from Seattle all the way down to LA. So here in LA, if you're eating farmed salmon, then you're likely getting the salmon from up there. And
Yes.
it is, salmon is pink only because wild salmon eat shrimp and krill. Farmed salmon, they're being fed GMO pellets that have animal products in them, so they don't get that pink color. So they dye them
Yes.
pink.
I know.
So it's not even a natural color. And
Yes.
that's what you're eating. It's the worst thing possible. So, the whole omega this, omega that, stay away from farmed salmon. It's horrible. It's the worst thing you could do for your health. But people don't know that.
People don't know that, and you find this also with all kinds of farming with the animals. Like there's with the chicken, with the cows, with the pigs. It happens everywhere.
Yeah.
It happens everywhere, and people are getting educated. I think that they are definitely getting educated.
But this farmed salmon business is a big business. They have it
yeah.
down in Chile, so when they're selling you Chilean salmon, it's farmed salmon. It's from Norway, and companies like Mitsubishi own these salmon farms. To compete against them is really hard. They have a lot of money invested.
Oh, definitely. I don't think that I can compete with them. The only thing that I can do is educate myself and educate other people.
Yeah.
And that's all I can do about it.
Yeah.
Gwen, did you know anything about any of this? Because you watch what you eat.
I absolutely watch what I eat. What I mostly did because for me it was very important because I went off of sugar and I wanted to find out, okay, how do I have to eat for my body to feel well? So I did a complete cleanse and then I started eating things and just looked, okay, how does my body react to it? Can I have it again or do I not eat it? So that's what I did mostly. I haven't gotten into how do meats
Where
get
they
made,
come
where do they come from and all those
Yeah.
things. I'm
Right,
not
right.
quite there yet. But
Well, the reason I ask is you do a lot of yoga and you've learned a lot of things from your mom, so that's
Yeah.
why I ask.
yes.
Talk about when you do yoga. What's that do for you? As she's laughing.
Well,
Mom's laughing.
what do you mean when you say yoga? Do you mean the yoga exercise or do you mean the
Yeah, because you
spiritual
do
path of
you do
yoga, or-
all of that.
Well, so mostly exercise-wise, I recently gotten into Pilates. I don't do Hatha yoga. and those things too much. So I discovered Pilates for myself, and I really love it very much. I do a lot of meditation. So yes.
So yoga actually means putting two things together in a
Yes.
yoke. It's like the small self and the high self
Yes.
to join these. That's a translation of yoga.
Do you do yoga?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, I used to do so much yoga, but right now I rather sleep.
She hasn't even had time to be jet lagged yet.
Oh gosh, yes.
Well,
I work a lot.
what does this do for you when you're traveling? Because we know what it's like when we go to a jungle. We get all this great food, but that doesn't mean that's the food that we need to have. And
No.
I've been seeing you
But
on
we
cruises
indulge
and
anyways because we
do.
think it's a limited thing. But when it's every weekend, it's that becomes regular, and it's not once in a. It's not doesn't become a cheat weekend. It
Yeah,
becomes every
exactly. It's
weekend.
like a cheat week. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the traveling, however, affects the way you eat, I guess, because, you know, the ingredients and the way they grow, everything in that particular country is different. So, for instance, back home from Moldova, I'm originally from Moldova, they have, I would say 90% of the produce, it's natural.
Mhm.
And not because they have the money to invest into that, it's because it's an agriculture country, basically. And also, they're big exporters of vegetables, fruits, and fresh produce. Then also, they do not have the resources to invest into pesticides, luckily. But it's getting there too, by the way.
Yeah.
It's getting slowly but surely, it's getting there right now too. However, I wanted to ask about the pesticides and how can we... There's a lot of advertisement out there where they say organic, but it's not 100% guaranteed because of the commercial reasons. You're never sure if that's a fact. So how can you tell, or how can you avoid the, I would say, heavily loaded with chemicals products and produces that you can...
Well, in Germany, we are so lucky that we have really strict laws about labeling, and we do have companies that are analyzing their producers like every year to get the new label, and only then you can be labeled organic.
Well,
for
it's the same
example.
here, but then I've heard cases when they say, oh, they said it's organic, but all of a sudden they...
Well, no. If there's a label in Germany, you can be sure it's correct.
It always
Germany.
sounds
If
going
there's
back
a
to what
label
you
in
were
the
saying.
United States, you can be sure it's backed by some big company
Exactly.
with a lot of
yes.
money and
Yep.
special interests.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that goes to your point of what you were talking about, because Americans need to know more about that, but the world needs to know more
Yeah.
about that too.
Well, there's a
Exactly.
lovely film that educates that on a very subtle level that has been taking Netflix by storm. It's a film called Oksha.
Right.
I haven't seen it.
And
no.
it's been out maybe about a month on Netflix. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Tilda Swinton. It's about a little girl who raises a pig, and this is a pig that was engineered to be like as big as a Jurassic Park dinosaur.
Oh, boy.
Oh
And
my
so it
God.
was a company that gave 10 pigs to 10 farmers around the world to raise them for 10 years, after which they will take them back, kill them, and spread the wealth. But this little girl has a special relationship with this pig. So when they come to take the pig, she's based in Japan, I think, right? I think she lives in Japan. They take the pig back to New York. So, of course, she follows because she wants to get Oksha back. And it's an incredible story of how this little girl's love for this pig galvanizes this society to essentially stop them from killing this pig so the two can be together. And there is a very powerful scene at the end where they are leaving the factory farm, and everything is CGI, but it's so well done, and they show these giant pigs going up a conveyor belt and being slaughtered. And when she does rescue her pig, and she is going back home to Japan because finally they conceded she could have Oksha back, all these pigs that are still there, it's a heartbreaking scene of this mother pig who takes her little baby and just rolls her underneath the fence to Oksha, like, take her back, like, save her. And so they hide her, and because the pig's so big, they hide her and secretly take her back. But then the shot is just all the pigs going up that ramp, like to their death. And it was like, you know, factory farming meets Schindler's List meets you know, what's that movie, Farm, back in the day. That Watership Down, remember Watership Down? Yeah, where the horses get sent off to the glue factory. Like it was very emotional. And PETA did a study where they found that apparently the Google searches for the word vegan surged like 1,000% after this movie came out, because it made people research what that meant.
So I think, like being here in Hollywood, you asked me how I like this red carpet event.
Yeah, the W, which really wasn't a red carpet event.
The carpet was just red.
It wasn't even red. No, it wasn't even red. It was black, if I remember.
No, the carpet was red.
Was it?
Yes.
Okay.
So for me, it was a red carpet.
Okay, it was a red carpet.
Okay.
So let me be in this illusion. I like it.
But you were talking about what you liked about it, which was interesting.
What I really think is, or what I felt there, is that there were people, like also very powerful people there, maybe not the very powerful ones, but there were powerful people. And like if they would like decide in doing something that enhances consciousness and not closes consciousness, because what I found very much is that Hollywood gets criticized about making movies that closes people's consciousness, that manipulate people in not knowing about those things that you've been talking about, or you've been talking about being healthy and taking care of your body, is that once they start influencing people in a very positive way so that consciousness can expand, then something like this happens, what you said, like those search words like rise. And I think that's like amazing. And on the other hand, I very often have the feeling like if you read like the stories about the really famous people, is that they get into drugs and they like get into alcohol and they get very much into crime and making even more money through crime, for example. I think that might also be a wanted how do you say
Maybe a weapon?
No, a wanted way, because once you are in the position of power and once you can talk to millions of people, that actually you should not be doing something to free people and to expand their consciousness, but the power is taken away from you by making you an addict, for example.
Right,
and
exactly.
Like getting into drama and getting into these things, or maybe also killing yourself through bad habits, you know. So
I do think that the entertainment industry does breed a self-centeredness that can cause people to want to forget their troubles and be self-destructive, because everyone has their own issues that they bring to the table, and the entertainment industry tends to amplify that. So for some people it is a downward spiral, but at the same time we've also seen a lot of people who do a lot of good.
exactly.
Leonardo DiCaprio, we all know his Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation. I mean, how many documentaries does he do? How the global climate change. I mean, he's been very vocal in recent years with his foundation.
So see what one person can do.
Yeah.
See, and that's also what I say. One person can do so much.
Yeah.
You don't even need to be like a famous person, but if you have the luck to be a famous person, then you can take that good luck and spread it.
Well, exactly. It's about being a role model. I mean, we were talking about Instagrams and all the selfies and all the things that you have to do for your business, and whether or not you choose to be a role model by some of the pictures that you choose to portray to show young girls that they can, that they can achieve what you have achieved, but they can also look and be who they are and still achieve the same types of things.
Yes.
And I've seen your photos. Your photos are actually quite safe. I actually like what you're doing. It almost seems like she's there by herself, but I know she's not. but they're safe, and I see what they're doing. So you are doing the right thing. Don't listen to the other person. You're doing the right thing. And with that, give your website. How do people find you?
Okay, so my Instagram is Ruxy is the abbreviation of my name, RUXY.EU as Europe. EU. This is how you find me. Also, I have another Instagram account, which is my full name, Ruxanda Calistru. If you Google my name, just my first name, which is RUXANDA, then you can find me there. I'm working right now to open my own company, where it's going to be my own domain, and I will have officially a website where they can just access my information, everything about me. But as of now, I'm working with a social media marketing team that they're trying to, in a way, create more of a follow-up for me as an artist. So this will be easier, I guess, for the company. But this is how they can find me, basically. Ruxanda, RUXANDA, everywhere, on all my social medias, if they want to check any music or dance videos.
Annette, how do we find you and your book? Where did they get it?
I'm just gonna right now go and just
Exactly.
go on her Instagram right now.
Exactly. While she's doing that,
Yes, Annette is NNT
have to do that.
MUELLER.com.
Gwen.
So you can find me just by looking up Gwen Wunderlich. It's Gwen.
I love how she says that.
Oh, I like it.
GWENN, and then Wunderlich is WUNDERLICH. And I have a website, and it's my Instagram handles, and same thing on Facebook and everywhere.
Sea Shepherd.
Well, wait a second. I found Ruxanda Calistru.
That's correct. Thank you.
That's funny.
Beautiful photos.
Thank
yes.
you.
Follow her, please. You should. You can find me at Sea Shepherd, which is www.seashepherd.org, and there you'll have a list. We have a list of all our campaigns that we're currently involved in. Operation Virus Hunter is the campaign to save the wild salmon, and it contains a plethora of information about farmed salmon versus wild salmon. It has a lot of videos from our campaigns, because we also did this campaign last year. So, seashepherd.org.
I just followed you on Instagram.
there
Is
we
it?
go.
Can I have the name, your name actually on Instagram, if it's possible?
Zorriana, ZORIANNA.
Gwen, what's your favorite social media and why?
Instagram,
Why?
because it's like a picture book of my life. I can go back and I'm like, oh, this is what I did last year. I just like, it like contains a lot of memories, and it's like, I don't know.
May it
easy,
never
simple.
have a fail, and then all those pictures get erased.
Yes,
May we never
absolutely.
get hacked on Instagram.
Annette?
My favorite is definitely Facebook, because I like communicating with people.
It's fun to reach out to you from Germany. I think it's special.
That's so great, isn't it?
Yeah, I even had
Rich
one of
people
your
from all over the world.
your journalist friends reach out.
Yes, they do.
Zorriana?
Gosh, I don't know. You know, for me, it's personally, I've decided to.
Take a break.
Well, I don't know if I would call it take a break. I guess working at Sea Shepherd and manning all those sites, which I love, because I do love the conversational aspect of Facebook. I do love the photo aspect of Instagram. Maybe that means that for myself, I'm a little over it. Like I'm so busy doing that the last thing I want to do is man that. But I also feel like as we get more and more public about everything that we do, that I'm starting to really value privacy and those quiet moments that I feel like I just not not really into sharing with anyone. I just feel like there's some stuff I just want to feel and experience without having to pause and grab a photo of it. The worst thing.
That's a good point.
But as a mom, the worst thing I think you can do is when you go to your child's show at school and every parent is busy taping and no one is watching their child. Everyone is watching through the phone. And I highly doubt that they go home later and actually watch what they videoed. I just think that it's never watched. So therefore, you've missed the show. You weren't fully present, and you're not going to watch that footage. So I just think we sometimes just need to put everything down, be present in the moment. Don't worry. Someone's recording it. Guarantee someone's recording it. So just breathe it in, take it in, and just feel it. And we don't do that. We just want that photo so we can Photoshop it and filter it. And
I don't do that, Ness. Only women do that.
Yeah, live the moment.
Well, I know. I wonder how you get a lot of your shots because she's an excellent dancer. I saw her and I had to get her number. I was watching her. No, I did. That's how we met.
Thank you. Yes, I was practicing in the studio. That's how
she was so elegant. I'm like, my God. I wanted to go up there, and I'm not there yet, but I wanted to go up there and say, will you teach me? Because she was just flowing like this. And I love watching this. So, so with that, I don't know who's taking some of your photos, but this is great stuff that you're doing. What's number one for you for social media?
Well, it's a brand, I would say. We're creating a name, and the name would be me as an artist. Including all my skills.
Yeah, because you sing, you arrange music, you do a lot of things.
Yes, I do sing, I write songs, I dance, I choreograph, I teach, and sometimes I do modeling when I have great opportunities. But as far as social media, I do not handle it. I don't have time for it. It's impossible.
Interesting.
I wouldn't have time for what I do. I do
There's
respond.
a reason there's people have full-time jobs as social media managers because it is a full-time job.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Oh my God. And
you would never dance if you just kept posting pictures of yourself.
And when she's not available, the lady that she handles the majority of my things, I feel it. I'm just like freaking out. Like there is so much material, you have to work on it, and I start to put my time into that, which is not good for my business. So
do you feel that pressure?
Oh, I do because
how do you handle that?
Well,
she eats unhealthy food.
No, I just become anxious, and then people that work with me. They do not like when I become like that because I literally call them every minute and I text them like 10,000 texts until they don't do it.
Ooh.
They're like, oh my God, there she is. And they know already that people that work with me for years, they do know that if they don't do it, then it's going to become bad. They will not get rid of me.
Well, let me ask you this. What is your favorite movie or TV show when it comes to dancing or singing? Do you have one?
Good question. Okay.
And you guys are next, so you better have an answer.
I do like The Voice.
Okay. Why?
Why? Because, prior for the singers to be selected, the judges do not see them. So it's, to a certain degree, I think it's subjective. Mm-hmm. But then it's subjective because every judge in the panel, they are also an individual that they have their own taste. So they, I would say thanks to their experience, to their background, this is how they choose the singer. It's also subjective. However, it's not as subjective as the other shows that they have for singers. Then another, dance-wise, I do like the new show that is about to come out, and it's on already. It's heavily advertised. World of Dance, it's called.
Oh, yes.
It's a great, I think, opportunity for all the dancers to manifest their skills and what they do through their art. And because it's produced by Jennifer Lopez, we all know that. She was in that world, so she knows how how it feels, how much work
She
and
was
how
a
many
fly
years.
girl back in the day, yeah.
Exactly. So she knows the work put behind that, and I think it's going to be a great production. After all, because I have a lot of choreographers that I work with that they are involved into the show. So they told me some things that I'm like, this is so great. The whole concept that they do, they give freedom to the dancers to manifest what they have choreography-wise and creativity-wise. In the other shows, it's a lot of choreographers behind the scenes. So you cannot really create your own choreography, create your own, I would say, piece of art that you can show, I would say, through your own abilities, because we are all different how we dance. Even dancers, we have our own style based on our abilities, strength, extensions, and etc.
Annette, when you're growing up in Germany as a little girl or whenever it was it a film that you liked that just touched you?
Well, I don't really remember anything else but like Dirty Dancing.
Nice.
Yeah.
And now I really very much admire the old school hip hop and
Really?
electric boogaloo.
Ah,
I
interesting.
really
Nice.
admire that. It's like sometimes when somebody really knows how to do it, like watching it gives me goosebumps all over. It's like amazing stuff.
Ah,
It's beautiful.
Gwen?
Well, one of my favorite films of all time is Fantasia, actually.
Ah,
Yeah, I
what a
think
great score.
It's an absolutely fantastic, amazing.
It's funny. Fantasia
Incredible
always puts
piece of
me to
art.
sleep because the score is so soothing.
Yeah,
It just calms my brain down. And I'm knocked out.
yeah.
We're talking about music, right? Music films? Is
Something
in that regard?
for you, it would be something that got you into doing what you're doing now. So for me, for example, it was a mad world.
I see.
I remember watching that as a kid. It was a 4-hour and 15-minute movie. I sat there the whole time with the 15-minute intermission. Mickey Rooney, Buddy Hackett, Milton Berle, all the great comedians were in that. And till this day, I still like it. And who knew I was going to meet Mickey Rooney, and Milton Berle brought me in as a friar, Beverly Hills Friar. There was only 3 minorities in there, and I was the third one, so it was an honor to be brought in by him and Tommy Butch Bond, the original Butch from Little Rascals.
Oh.
So I
That's
remember these
amazing.
things like that. And then the second one, which made me want to be a martial artist, was Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee.
Wow.
See, I was thinking music because everyone was going down that front. So that I have to.
Maybe I switched it up on
Yeah,
you.
you did. You did. So I'm gonna join my girl group here and go with the flow on the music front. I love musicals I love films that are disguised as musicals, like Whiplash.
Oh, what a
That
great
was-
film.
love
I mean,
it.
that was like watching a musical because you were watching Miles Teller play the drums, and he's being verbally abused by his conductor, and just everything surrounding that felt like a musical. So therefore, it was no surprise when Damien Chazelle goes to direct La La Land,
Yep.
an
Yes.
actual musical. Recently, I saw a film that I would describe as a musical. It's called Baby Driver. It is
Oh,
a
yeah.
heist film.
haven't
It's
seen
about a driver who's got a baby face. That's why his name's Baby. And he works for, a mysterious man played by Kevin Spacey. And he's a getaway driver for bank robbers. And so a lot of robberies are carried out, and he is the driver. The thing about
Who listens to music?
who listens to music, and
Oh.
everything happens on his headphones. And every heist that is done, every time the car swerves, the bankers go in, everything is choreographed to what is going on his iPod. It is incredible. It's like, on the surface, it looks like your typical heist movie, Jamie Foxx, all
John Hamm.
the badass action guys. But when it's coordinated to music, you know that everything had to be calculated. Every touch, every move, every body language, and that was not easy. Not to mention, in the normal filmmaking process, you shoot the film and then you look for music. Then you try to get the rights cleared for the song that you want. For this film, all of that had to be done before, because you can't coordinate to a song by Queen if you don't have the rights ahead of time. You can't choreograph that dance that they do. And it's not just a dance of people. It's the cars. It's the gun firing, the bullets shooting, the windows breaking. Everything is set to incredible music in this guy's head. It's
Wow.
awesome.
I want to see it.
It's so different and original, like just a great twist.
You know, one of the films that I really like when it comes to dance is Shall We Dance, the original one. Did you ever see that?
Yes.
I love that because it came out of Japan. It was just, you know, you don't expect Japanese to dance like that, but when it comes to dance, there is no boundaries. There aren't any races, is there?
Exactly. Yes.
You think of all those great people from South American dancing, but people love to dance, which is what your genre is.
It's a great equalizer. It really is. It transcends boundaries, cultures, all that stuff.
Yes.
You two went to go see Wonder Woman lately.
Yes.
I like how she says yes, and then.
Aren't you enthusiastic about it?
Well,
Did you like it?
yes, and I mean, it wasn't the greatest thing that I've ever seen, but it was very entertaining.
Oh, okay.
Annette, I saw your eyes over there, and give your point of view.
My point of view, I already told you that I don't think women find their power by pretending to be men. So.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting that she said that.
I did. My favorite lines, I was going to say line, but it's two characters. It's towards the end when Steve, they're having this conversation that they flash back to a few times, because the first time we don't hear it. We just hear their mouths talking, and then later we find out what they said. And he is telling her something, and he says, I can save the day, you can save the world. And that was her purpose, because she was not human. He was human, so he could only go so far. And I just thought that was just, to me, when I heard that, to me, that encompasses everything that my organization stands for, because for 40 years, our founder, Captain Paul Watson, has been going where others don't want to go, where others are afraid to go. And he's not there to make humans happy. He's there to save a species. And he doesn't care what other people think, because he always says, if find me a whale that says, no thanks, I don't want your help, then I'll stop. But they're not saying that, so I'm going to keep going. And that is a man who was born to save the world. You know, so many of us can only save the day. And I just thought that when he said that, it really it summarized her purpose in life, which was to save the world. And I do think that once you find that purpose, you feel like Wonder Woman. You are a healer.
Yes.
So you can save the world in that realm.
I wanted to say yes, but see, we do not need to be superhuman to save the world.
Yes.
Like if we do our part, it's part of saving the world.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And this is so important that everybody, every single person understands that they do have the power if they awaken to their inner power. And that's the first thing you have to do. If you have to awaken to your inner power and get off the TV.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
Takes you away from it.
There's a great phrase in the dog rescue world, which I'm also very involved in, and that is, you know, you adopt a dog, you may not change the lives for all the dogs, but you will change the life of that just one dog. And that sort of encapsulates conservation, and encapsulates your own healing, and encapsulates your power to change the world like Wonder Woman. Because if you just transform one person, that one person is just, that person's going to go, and you were transformed.
Definitely.
One person changed your world.
Yes.
And now you are changing
Absolutely.
the world for other people.
That's what
Every time we have a campaign where we free an entangled animal in a net, that animal has the opportunity to mate, reproduce, and continue its lineage and continue living, as opposed to dying, suffocating, and finishing its line right then and there. And I think it's so important. I mean, as a dancer, you have the power to inspire so many people and change their views on the way their body works, the cultural aspect of dancing.
Absolutely.
I mean, we all have that power in us. We just have to, once you find your purpose, that's it. You're Wonder Woman. You
Yes.
really are.
Yes.
Well, the good thing about that, it's directed by a woman, and the numbers were great. Now there's a sequel. Gender empowerment. There you go on that. You just saw a couple movies lately.
I did. I saw an amazing film called Detroit, directed by Catherine Bigelow. She did The Hurt Locker, won an Oscar for that several years back. It was about a bunch of bomb diffusing. It's an elite unit in the Army that does that. And then she did Zero Dark 30, which was about finding Osama bin Laden. So this
She's
sort
become
of
a great filmmaker.
very
That's amazing.
action-oriented, but true to life, gritty. And so this film is called Detroit, and it's about an incident that happened in Detroit. It was in the
Detroit,
70s,
Michigan, yep.
at the Algiers Hotel, where white cops were horrific to a group of black men. There were 2 white women in that group. So it takes place during the course of this one harrowing night where the cops have these boys lined up, and they are not kind to them at all. We talked a lot about healing, and talk about a nation that still needs healing. That was in the 70s, yet it could still be happening today with everything that we see in the headlines. It's like you just almost feel like, have we changed? Have we grown? Have we learned our lesson? It's a little hard to tell. I mean, you could have put those kids in today's clothing, and it would still have been relevant.
Yeah, everybody's, what was it, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is actually pretty good. You don't
Yeah.
get it really higher
Yeah.
than that.
I mean, listen, it's a harrowing watch. I mean, the filmmaker really makes you feel like you're one of those kids lined up, and you have to get through those 24 hours. It's an assault at the senses. There's a lot of stuff happening that just makes you go, oh my God. And it's based on these are true people, because at the end of the film they say which each and every one of those people are doing today. I think it just continues to just cement Catherine Bigelow as just a rare Hollywood filmmaker who has found a niche in telling these true-to-life stories. She's really good at grabbing a piece of history and providing us with a teaching lesson that does not gloss anything over.
She learned a lot from James Cameron, who did Avatar, the Titanic.
Her ex-husband.
Learned a lot from him.
Okay.
And she's gone on to carve her own.
Yeah.
She won an Oscar, and good for her.
But I think, listen, this movie coming out in the summer, Hurt Locker came out in the summer too. I think it's continuing a similar strategy. I wouldn't be surprised if this film, I mean, listen, there's still a long way till February, and we don't know what other movies are coming out. But if you're going to start talking about the Oscar race now, I would definitely say that Detroit at this point is a really strong contender for that. The acting is terrific. It's always nice when you don't know the history of each actor. There's a lot of quote unquote unknowns, and in fact 2 of them are British, which I had no idea till after the fact when I started researching the names. They're British actors playing Detroit characters. It was fabulous. There's also a sort of a weird animated sequence at the beginning, like 2D animation, that is like a prologue to the film, which I thought was a very weird choice because it really didn't add anything to the film, and it just, I don't know why she did it that way. I guess it was a personal choice. But I remembered that back in 2014, Catherine Bigelow did a short film that was in that 2D animated style, but it was about elephant poaching, where she traced the history of ivory tusks, of how they go and why that happens, and how the elephants are going to become extinct, how much drug cartel personnel are involved in this type of wildlife trafficking, all in a 3-minute short film involving that 2D. So having seen that and then seeing that animation, it just made sense that that is part of her style. But it also showed the world that Catherine Bigelow is a conservationist too, and that she talk about people doing things for good, like Leonardo DiCaprio. Here was a woman who, has won an Oscar, can do whatever she wants in Hollywood, that she took the time to do something for another species that needs our help and intervention, because she has that voice and she has the power to make that change.
Absolutely wonderful.
Let's see what you got coming up before we get out of here. What's going on with you next?
I'm organizing right now my own shows. They will be in a few different venues. One of them is Lucky Strike on Hollywood and Highland.
Oh, yeah, I love that place.
Yes.
Yeah, I love bowling.
There is bowling there too, so everybody's welcome to come over there. Everything that is coming up regarding events, it's posted on my social medias. Dance events, singing events, anything that is related to my performing. And if you guys want to just go network, I also sometimes, not me, but the social media team, they do post events related to networking, because I know a lot of people like to go to events like red carpets, black carpets.
For the record, Sea Shepherd has blue carpet events.
There you go.
Dates? You have dates when these things are happening?
No.
Not
Well,
Dates with guys?
no, I don't go on dates not on these type of events. I go sometimes to meet friends, like generally, because they either let me know about the event or I let them know about the event, and we just it's a meetup thing where we catch up.
Okay.
But I necessarily do not take someone with me. I mean, I maybe have some photographer that
course.
would work with me.
Yep.
Regarding dating, it's tough.
We have another subject of that coming up. Your social media again.
My social media again, Ruxanda, Ruxanda. You can find me on my social medias like that. And I'm looking forward to guys to see you my events, or maybe communicate on my Instagram or Facebook. Anything else?
Annette?
Yes. So the next very big event that is going to be put on, that is my festival. And it's going to be on the 16th and 17th of September in Germany.
Beautiful.
And on the 17th, we're even going to go to the Oktoberfest.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
And there we're going to have the screening of The Cure with Emmanuel Etier. And so this is what I'm looking forward very much to now. And then the next big thing, that's India. And you can
January.
always... India in January 18, and it's going to be also taped, and Emmanuel Etier is going to come there with his camera, and so everybody can follow us on Facebook. That's
And
the easiest.
you're going this weekend up to Northern California.
Yes, I'm going to Northern California, to Napa Valley, to teach my healing method, Amazing Grace, and there are a couple of people waiting for me eagerly to then be able to do this fabulous healing.
Your social media again?
Okay, so my website is Annette-Muller.com.
Gwen?
Well, I will be going to Germany for the festival.
Of course you are.
Yes, and then I'm also going to be in India. My next big thing that's going to be coming out is a feature film called Exodus of the Prodigal Son. That's coming out in 2018. And I'm working on a series, but I'm not sure how much I can or cannot say. So at this point, I'd rather not say anything.
Zorriana?
Sea Shepherd is a global movement. We have 10 ships around the world. They're actually volunteer staffed. So if you want to contribute to our organization, if you want to make a difference to the environment in the ocean, you can go to the website, and there is crew applications are there, and you can get involved that way. Also, we have local chapters. So in LA, for example, we have a local chapter which you can also find on Facebook, and there is always a calendar of events. We do a lot of beach cleanups, different events like that, and you gotta keep the oceans clean.
Any films you're looking forward to seeing?
Yeah, you know, this is a very exciting time where summer's ending and you're entering a period of really good movies coming out because the Oscar season is kind of beginning. The Broadcast Film Critics has their annual Critics' Choice Awards coming up in December. And so when you see a movie like Detroit, you start feeling like it's fall. Like I always just want to put my sweater on and go, the good movies are now coming out. I'm looking forward to Blade Runner. Very much so. The trailer just looks fantastic. Harrison Ford is back. I mean, I know he's resurrecting all of his old movies from Star Wars to Indiana Jones to now Blade Runner. But I'm really looking forward to that. I'm interested to see how Ryan Gosling's going to be in this film. So that one I'm looking forward to. Mostly because Denis Villeneuve directed Arrival, which is one of my favorite films. And to see him take on Blade Runner, I think is going to be really interesting. I think he's a very interesting filmmaker. I'm a huge fan of his work. Sicario was brilliant. So I'm really curious to see how a French-Canadian filmmaker who did such an amazing job on a deeply intellectual alien movie called Arrival, what he's going to be doing with Blade Runner.
And I want to thank everybody for coming because this was a really interesting show. Especially all the way from Germany.
Yes, thank you for
really,
coming.
Really I'm Brian Sebastian. This is Movie Reviews and More. You can see us at www.youtube.com/movie reviews, the letter N more. And if you see someone allowed a smile, please give them one of yours. And we will see you next week. We're doing music next week. It'll be fun.
You're listening to Movie Reviews and More with Brian Sebastian, only on LA Talk Radio.